Hello and welcome to another episode of Moments of Consequence, our battle report series. This time we are playing a 1600 point battle, Lizardmen versus Vampire Counts. My Lizardmen as always, and again I am playing against my buddy Nick, who is playing our friend's Vampire Count army for the pod. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you at the postgame. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Moments of Consequence. This is our battle report series. In the house with me, I've got Nick and Nathan, and Nick came down from St. Louis, and he is going to play with Nathan's Vampire Counts. We rolled on the streamlined setup rules. We rolled the oblique line deployment, so we're deployed this way down the field with take the hill as our objective. Down here we have the Lamia Vampire Counts led by a host of vampires, and I will let you take it away, Nick.
All right. Again, reminder, these are Nathan's vampires, so forgive me for anything I get wrong rules-wise. So we'll start over here with our general. We have a level 1 vampire count with a warrior familiar. Again, we're doing Lamia, which means that we are able to have a Swain over here as my other character, and then my third character is a white hero and a level 2 wizard. So now that those are the characters, let's go over the units. Far left, we have a fast cavalry unit with lances, light armor, shields. Over here, we have 25 whites with halberds and heavy armor. Here we have 22 skeletons with great weapons and heavy armor. And then here we have 5 white knights with lances and barding. And this is a Bretonnian Swain, in case I forgot to mention that.
Very cool. All right, for my 1600 Lizardman list, I've got 10 skinks with blowpipes in skirmish formation. I've got 20 skink warriors with javelins and shields, a standard bearer, and musician, obviously, and then also 2 Croxagores. I've got 3 jungle swarms up here in the front and skirmish, and then right here I've got the 2 Slanns that are leading my host of Lizardmen as they trek the perilous desert and came across the Vampire Counts. I've got a level 5 mummified Slann Mage Priest and a level 2 Slann Mage Priest that is alive and well currently. Also a battle standard bearer and my general, so he has the ability to do both. And then right here I've got my 6 red crested skinks on cold ones. So hard to get that right all the time. But yeah, that is my 1600 point list, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, at the end of turn 1, both the top of turn 1 and the bottom of turn 1, we have done the little Cupid shuffle towards each other. Nick was awarded the first turn with Lamia, so he got to play the top of the turn. He moved his unit up to touch the hill a little bit and just kind of position his knights. In response, I moved up just the knights a little bit over there in the corner, and I took the ruins. We're playing this as difficult terrain, not a building, so that is a ruin, just difficult terrain. And I took up shelter in the difficult terrain. So we are about to play the top of turn 2.
All right, we're here at the end of top of turn 2. Vampires just got done with their magic phase, and that's pretty much the end of the turn. A lot of movement. Everybody marched or moved up. The big event that happened is in the magic phase. Barrett stopped two of my spells, and then when he went to go teleport, I drained magic, causing my level 2 wizard to lose 1 magic level and to lose my drain life magic spell. So now I have Macabre and level 3 rank raised dead left.
My level 2 tried to cast 1 teleport spell and didn't get it off, but could potentially have some tricks up its sleeve. Dun-dun. We shall see. Dun-dun! All right, at the bottom of turn 2, the Lizardmen's movement phase, we had the Skinks move up and the Skink unit move up as well. We had just a little bit of shuffling over here from these 2 units. The magic phase was really where a lot of things happened. The 2 Slanns worked together to cast some spells. We've got a question for Balder that we will put in the comments of this video, but the Slann got to cast teleport on the level 5 back there and teleported him back behind the unit, and then also teleported the other unit over from the hill to that side over there. So 2 teleport spells went off, and finally also this spell over here, the the Dance of Despair, got casted onto this unit right here. And I used my total power scroll to get it off, and it makes them do nothing but move forward d6 inches each turn. So that is what will probably happen next turn. So that was the bottom of turn 2. About to play the top of turn 3.
All right, just finished the top of turn 3. As you can expect, rolling another 10 magic cards in the magic phase, hurt against a double Slann mage build. But basically everybody moved up, got a swarm down to 1 wound left, who's kind of tying things up. Have my last of my white knights in front of the dead Slann. I have my Swain over here. These guys are no longer dancing, but they are sitting with their thumbs in their booty a little bit. So we'll see what happens next turn.
That's funny. All right, at the bottom of turn 3, I went ahead and charged in the flank and the rear with my mummified Slann Mage Priest, destroyed the last of the knight unit. What was that knight unit? Was that the whites?
White knight.
The white knights. Destroyed that, overran into the rear. Combat res took out 9. The Swain and the Vampire Countess and the Slann went to blows. Nick, you want to explain what weapons were used and what happened there?
Yeah, I had the sort of anti-hero, so him being tough, I'm wounding on 2s, being strength 10 and D3 wounds. I was able to put 4 wounds on him with always strike first. He struck back and put 2 wounds on me.
And then
all my skeletons whiffed everything. So the swarm's still alive on 1 wound, which is very unfortunate, and then I did nothing to the skinks.
And this unit in the magic phase, Nick?
And then in the magic phase, I got Macabre off. Barrett tried 2 different dispels, and it still was able to go through, luckily, so they just charged. And then, yeah, so at the beginning of my next turn, we'll feel that out.
Top of turn 4.
All right, top of turn 4, I
Yes.
believe. Yep. And they successfully, the White Knights overran the Skink Cavalry into this unit. Unfortunately, the Swain was a little lazy and lagged behind, rolling a 6 and just not quite getting it there. Barrett was able to get Flesh to Stone off on his big boy, helping preserve his life for a little while longer, hopefully. The big news is, though, if you notice this combat in the middle here, I don't have a general anymore. I took down the old grumpy boy, but then Croxagores and Skink and Friends in the side gave it to me pretty hard, and poof, there goes the whole unit, just enough to kill everybody. And then everybody passed their leadership around here. I need a 7 here, an 8 or 9 over here, and luckily stayed, but now, obviously, when the characters die, so do the unit.
At the bottom of turn 4, the powerful magic from the Slanns was finally probably enough to break the back of the vampires. The Flesh to Stone stayed active. Lots of combat happened. In the melee phase, we had these 2 guys duke it out, these 2 units. I whittled down some more units, some of his models, his whites with great weapons. And he whiffed on the Saurus Warriors, only destroying 1 Saurus Warrior out of 10. And then this unit just repositioned. In the magic phase, very consequential. The Nick got dealt no dispel cards, so I had basically my way in the magic phase got to cast whatever I want, however I wanted. And I casted Flesh to Stone was already in play. I casted the Jade Casket to bring him back, which gave me my spells back. Doesn't give him any magic items, but his spells come back. And then I was allowed to cast Dance of Despair on this unit over here. So that was the bottom of turn 4, top of turn 5 coming up. All right, the end of turn 5. That is the end of the game. We had a couple notable things as we cleaned it up. The Lizardmen are going to take the hill and take the probably minor victory, probably a 4-3 or a...
I don't know. We have to look at the points, but probably win.
Probably about 800 points.
We have, essentially all we have left is in a weird combat. I decided to charge in with my Swain. He had the double number of attacks on the charge and the Lance of Luck, the +1 to hit, +1 wound. So he was able to turn the combat. And it was a tough decision. Essentially, he challenged with his Slann Mage Priest, and I had to decide which character, if he kills my Undead character, with his buffs up, mind you, the plus double toughness and strength. If he kills my character, I poof, but if he kills the Swain and I don't do enough combat res, I'm going to get charged in the rear next turn. I went for it. I challenged, hoping he might miss me. I did it. Luckily, I had the initiative of 10 banner, so I got 7 wounds in combat first. Then he killed my character, White, which poofed my entire unit. Luckily, because that happened, I still won combat res because poof models don't count for combat resolution. And so I was still winning combat. He failed the rerollable 3, and I chased him down, which leaves me with a Swain and a level 1 but no spell knowing wizard. he's lost all knowledge of his spells in this game. It's been pretty hard on him. And a unit of light cavalry. He has his unit taking the hill right now.
So yeah, so it's probably, what would you say? You have probably 400 points left?
2, 3, 450 to 5 tops.
So yeah, 450 to 5. I have 1,000. I'm at about 1,000. 1,050.
Yeah.
Yep. So great game, Nick. A lot of fun, buddy.
All right.
Hello and welcome back to our post game. I'm here with Nick. We have just gotten done playing our 1,600 point game, Lizardmen versus Lamia. Nick, what did you think about the battle?
Overall, good game. Again, not my army, so there was definitely some things that took a little getting used to, especially playing undead. Vampires is a very different feel from a human faction with morale. Fun playing against Lizardmen as well, especially Barrett's painted army. That's always great seeing all the work he's done and continuing to improve upon on the field. I had a really good time. Obviously, it came down to really the very final units at the end. So we'll jump into it. What were your thoughts, Barrett? How'd you like your list?
I've off camera, I've never been able to get double Slann to work, and this is twice now that I've been able to get it to work and work really well. I feel like it just overpowers the magic phase. Like, even if you bring good defense, and like I felt like you brought really good defense. You had 2 different wizards who could, at any time use a dispel card if one was either doing nothing or fleeing. And then you also had the Enchanted Mirror and the Book of Secrets. So you didn't skip the magic phase. You definitely brought some magic defense. It just, it's one of the, if you're gonna lean into the magic phase, you can't really dip your toes in anymore. I don't feel like. If you're gonna play in the magic phase, you either have to
for casting,
like you played, where you play really defensive and try to shut it down a little bit, or the way that I played, where you go really heavy into it and try to absolutely dominate it. So
yeah, and I will say it definitely worked out in your favor there in the beginning. I think the first 3 magic turns were 10, 7, 10 cards, so that really hurt. And I know there was at least 3 rounds where I was just like cracking up, because I love the Book of Secrets. I think it's a phenomenal magic item, especially if you're playing defensive or offensive, really. And just drawing 3 power cards to sub them out for 3 more power cards is just a really fun feeling. Staring down, 6 other cards in your opponent's hand with 7 spells to cast.
Yeah, that's really tough. Yeah, really tough. I remember that one of our last phases, you had 3 power cards into 3 more power cards, and that was brutal. You just needed 1 or 2 dispel cards to even have a chance to try to block some of the last spells. And
I could, just to dispel the remain in play. I think on your main Warlord Slann have the double strength and toughness. So
yeah, no, double Slann's a lot of fun. It's really good. What's your give me your quick elevator pitch on what you think about vampires. I know you mentioned it's not your army. You usually play Empire and Dogs of War and Bretonnia.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about playing vampire counts, an army you're not used to?
Well, it was really nice having quick turns. I think the majority of the turns were actually, just in the magic phase of determining what to do and what to stop or let go. Really move, fight, magic. It's pretty nice and pretty convenient for the vampires, especially with a central objective. It's, kind of move forward. I don't know what edition or if this has always been the way, but I know when I was reading through the rules, seeing that you can't march a unit even with a character in it outside of the General's 12-inch really put a hamper on the fast cab Doom Rider banner, which I think is a great tool for the auto hitting lances. But at the same time, now you're moving along at 7 inches, so you better hope to get the charge off. And you did a great job with spells kind of stopping and diffusing that. Obviously, I think in this turn I liked having the level 2 and the level 1 for the variability, but I rolled bad in terms of my spells, and instead of getting, I had Macabre, which was great, but I didn't have the level 1 raise. I had the level 3. So I ran into the problem of where you didn't have to play defensive because I couldn't cast level 1 spells a lot. So that was something that I kind of had an issue with. And of course, first magic phase, I lost a spell level. So that hurt a little bit as well with the drain magic. But overall, I think vampires are just, obviously it's a really good block. Central move up with the leadership, but at the same time, you got to keep your lord safe. And I think there's a lot of ways to do that, especially with just being able to throw units in the way. And I think there's a lot of play you can have with units going poof because you can't overrun from that. So as long as they don't kill you outright, you can really counter charge with a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And fear, having everything cause fear and not taking leadership tests. I think that would be my last thing. Sorry. I think that was nice. No matter what happened, going, yeah, I don't really care. What's your next move? That was a very satisfactory feeling.
That's so funny and so true though. Like, yeah, you just so many parts of the rule book that the undead get to ignore, but at a steep cost. Balder asked if he asked, what do you think the best army is in the group? And I thought the results of that were interesting. And the thing that I said about undead was I feel like they're really, really strong but balanced. Crumbling and that those special rules are very, very punitive, and I think it makes up for not really having to take leadership tests. So,
well, I will say, on that crumbling issue, I was talking to Nathan, the guy who's, for everybody listening, whose army I was using, and I was telling him, hey, there's a real argument now for just putting thralls in units because it's a toughness 6 character with 2 wounds that will keep your unit alive. I mean, our game came down to 2 turns after my general was dead, and I was still able to kill your warlord with not with the general for undead being gone. So I think there is a big argument for having a character in units to at least play some objective games late game.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think you really cracked the code there. Like having a character in there and not going immediately poof, or at least having a dice roll at it is at when your warlord dies, makes playing protect the warlord a little less damaging. Like you can be a little bit more
laissez-faire.
Yeah, that's the wrong word for sure, but like you can definitely be more aggressive.
Yeah. And well, with the vampire stat line, it was nice as a human go, no, strength 7, toughness 6. This is nice.
Yeah, leverage your vampire stuff. So,
well, what about you? How did you, playing Double Slann, determine what spells you wanted to pick?
Oh, I centered it around 2 spells. I mean, it was Flesh to Stone and Jade Casket. And you get the Plaque of Knowledge to guarantee those 2 spells. Then the level 5. The telepathy allows you to. You then basically you roll the dice on the lore of shadows because it's 5 spells, so you get 8 dealt to you. So you're getting 8 out of 10 from the cards. There's 2 different teleports of like teleporting somebody else, and a third where you can teleport yourself, which is obviously the worst one because it can only then allow the level 2 to teleport himself, which is not that strong. But in whole, there's 3 teleport spells in gray. So you combine the Jade, getting exactly what spells you want, with the gray. I can now take any of these spells are good. And there's about 3 other ones. I mean, Trader of Tarn, Dance of Despair, Pit of Shades. I could go. I think that all those spells are great. So
yeah, well, it's interesting you put the Plaque of Knowledge on your living Slann mage and not the dead one to pick five spells from any lore. You know what I mean? To instead of switching those, I like it because that way he stays alive, and then if the other guy dies, you don't lose those spells.
Correct. It's the only way. It's the only way you can keep the engine going. Plus, you have the Stegodon in bigger battles, and you can start revving the Stegodon too. Like it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I think it's a great. I wish instead of the Revive 1 model, I wish there was a Raise the Dead rank 1 for living models. Like I wish the Slann could revive like D3 plus 1.
Hey, I will say I know there's that new or semi-new common magic item that lets you pick any of the 8 lores. How cool would that be to have like a necromantic Book of the Dead as well, right? That people could take.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
So
Well, hey.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, no, you go ahead because we're just gonna have to wrap this up. But I appreciate you coming out here and playing, and I can't wait to get you on the pod. I think we're gonna have some shooting phase stuff coming up here real soon, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think one thing this game was definitely lacking, especially for a double slan list, was the shooting.
No great cannons to be seen. Well, Lizardmen took the day, and Nick, it was so much fun. We'll talk to you next time, buddy.